thank you all so much for being here with us as we do a number of things. I know there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of moving parts, but I hope you all are able to take many, many things away from this weekend, and it's my honor to move us forward in the next item on our agenda. So I'm honored to introduce our past sister, Michelle Jochner, who is a partner at Schiller, DePonto, and Fleck. She will be presenting our Barbara Jordan Award today. She is a dedicated PAD member who has served in numerous leadership positions in the Chicago Alumni Chapter, as well as a former Assistant District Justice in District 11. She served 15 years as a judicial law clerk to 2 justices of the Illinois Supreme Court. She also was able to work on many high-profile matters during her time as a judicial law clerk. A recognized legal scholar, Michelle is an expert in writing. She's also an educator. She's been named and honored by her peers in many, many ways. I could probably spend a good 30 minutes naming all of her accolades, but I would encourage you all to look her up on the internet, and you'll find many, many wonderful things about her. She's recently the recipient of the Top Women Lawyer in Leadership, which was awarded by the Women's Bar Association of Illinois. She's also authored more than 200 articles on a wide array of legal topics, appearing in publications nationwide. She regularly speaks on legal issues to various groups across the state of Illinois, including seminars on effective legal writing, appellate advocacy, and family law. As I mentioned, she's also an educator. She has served as an adjunct professor at both DePaul University College of Law, Story Chapter, I believe y'all are familiar with it, and the John Marshall Law School. She's also a well-known leader in the Chicago legal community. She's active in many organizations, including the Chicago Bar Association, the Illinois State Bar Association, the Illinois Institute for Continuing Legal Education, the Conflict Center, the Center for Conflict Resolution. At DePaul University, she also serves on the Dean's Advisory Council. Recognizing the importance of ensuring that the future of legal profession is in good hands, she also actively mentors students at DePaul as well as within Phi Alpha Delta. Her mentoring efforts themselves were recognized by the Chicago Lawyer magazine in honoring her as Women Making Impact. And now, without further ado, I present Michelle Jochner, who will in turn present our Barbara Jordan Award winner, Judge Arnette Hubbard. Michelle?
Well, thank you so very much. I really appreciate that very kind introduction. And I have to put my eyes on so I can see. And it is wonderful, wonderful to see all of our PAD brothers and sisters here in Chicago, not only for the IEB Summer Board Meeting, but also to celebrate and kick off this year's Gold Program. So it's a sincere honor to be with you here today to recognize the trailblazing career of my valued mentor and also my treasured friend, Judge Arnette Hubbard. And also to speak with you a little bit later on about lawyers who lead through service, with Judge Hubbard being an exemplary role model in that very regard. Now, as we know, Phi Alpha Delta is the world's preeminent law fraternity because it is committed to advancing the core ideals of compassion, courage, diversity, innovation, integrity, professionalism, and today's focus, service. It is through honoring these core ideals that we can better both our own profession and our community. Now, Judge Arnette Hubbard exemplifies all of the PAD core ideals, but particularly her dedication to service to the profession and to the broader community throughout her storied career. It has been because of her steadfast commitment to the ideals and the mission of PAD that Judge Hubbard has been selected to receive one of PAD's highest honors, the Barbara Jordan Award. This award is presented biannually to a PAD member for their lifetime commitment and contributions to the rule of law and to the judicial system, in keeping with the spirit of our departed sister, U.S. Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. Now, Barbara Jordan was born in Houston, Texas in 1936 and she attended segregated schools until she enrolled at Boston University College of Law, graduating in 1959. In 1966, at the age of 30, Barbara Jordan began her historic political career when she became the first African-American woman elected to the Texas State Senate. 6 years after that, she won election to the U.S. House of Representatives, becoming the first African-American woman from a southern state to ever serve in that body. During her legislative tenure, she championed civil rights legislation that included establishing minimum wage laws and anti-discrimination employment practices, as well as strengthening the Federal Voting Rights Act. Barbara Jordan accomplished a series of historic firsts that forever changed the political landscape for the better. Just like Barbara Jordan, Judge Arnette Hubbard has also blazed an incredible trail that shattered many glass ceilings through her own impressive list of historic firsts. It is my sincere honor to tell you a little bit more about her. If I told you everything, we'd be here all day, but I'll tell you a little bit about her, as she has been a valued mentor and a dear friend for many, many years. Her astounding career teaches us all here today that there are no limits to what you can accomplish if you put your heart and your soul into it. Now, Judge Hubbard was born in Arkansas as an only child. She earned undergraduate degrees in math and chemistry from Southern Illinois University at Carbondale, so you were a STEM gal, that's right. But then she turned to studying law, which offered the opportunity to make a positive difference in advancing social change. She went on to earn her JD in 1969 from the John Marshall Law School, which is now known as the University of Illinois Chicago School of Law. Another awesome fact about Judge Hubbard is that she established her career and also established her family at the same time. Incredibly, she gave birth to her son Gregory the very same week she graduated from law school. That's quite an accomplishment. It bears noting that when Judge Hubbard became a lawyer in 1969, women comprised only 3% of American lawyers, and they were barely allowed in the room. And if they were there, they were often mistaken for secretaries, were they not? After receiving her law degree, she practiced law for 28 years, dedicating her work to ensuring positive change. In 1978, Judge Hubbard shattered her first glass ceiling by being the first woman president of the Cook County Bar Association, which is the nation's oldest African-American bar association here in Chicago. In 1981, Judge Hubbard broke additional barriers when she was the first woman elected as president of the National Bar Association, which is the nation's oldest and largest organization of Black lawyers and judges. Now, voter education and participation has been a lifelong passion for Judge Hubbard, and she spent significant time as an official international elections monitor, first in South Africa in 1994 for the historic election when Nelson Mandela was first elected president of that country, and then also in Haiti in 1995. Judge Hubbard was also appointed to 3 consecutive 3-year terms on the Chicago Board of Elections, where she served as the only female member for 8 years. In 1997, after her 28 years of practice, she began another phase of her career for the next 25 years. She became a judge of the Circuit Court of Cook County, which is one of the largest unified court systems in the world, and she handled complex civil matters. In 2009, she was recognized for her groundbreaking work by receiving the Margaret Brent Women Lawyers of Achievement Award from the American Bar Association. That award honors outstanding women lawyers who have achieved professional excellence and paved the way for other women in the legal profession, and it is truly a big deal. I remember being at the ceremony to cheer Judge Hubbard on, and it really was an incredible time. Throughout her career, Judge Hubbard has also mentored law students and lawyers from all backgrounds throughout the country. As we know, mentoring is a key component of the GOLD program, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Judge Hubbard has also participated in a number of Phi Alpha Delta events in the Chicago area, and she has steadfastly supported our mission. In sum, her dedication to the rule of law, to her community, to our profession, and to this fraternity is unparalleled. It is for all of these reasons, and for much, much more, that we honor her today with the Barbara Jordan Award. Would you please help me welcome Judge Arnette Hubbard.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
I am ecstatic. Michelle, I need to thank you, and I will further in a moment for that kind introduction. Now, let me tell you, it does look good, doesn't it? I wore the right dress. Now, brothers and sisters of PAD International Law Fraternity, oh, it feels good to say that. I want to address this moment in time. It's a wondrous moment, and it's circular, and I'll tell you why. It goes back really to perhaps 1973. In that year, the Cook County Bar had as its speaker the first Black woman from Texas to sit in both the Texas Senate and the U.S. House. But she was also the first woman from Texas in the United States House of Representatives in that time who had been elected in her own right. Others had sat in the House but had not been elected. That's one of her first. That woman, as you know, was Barbara Jordan. Almost means misnamed her. I'm excited. So, at that dinner, I was in the audience. We had the Cook County Bar been able to garner that highly sought after speaker because Curtis Collins was married to a U.S. Congressman, George. She later succeeded in his seat, and she had persuaded Barbara Jordan to honor us with her presence. I tell you, that was, what is it, the success of the year to garner her, because she was so sought after. The room was packed, wall to wall, no seats left. People were trying to pay to get in just to look at her. And I was right there admiring her. And I gotta tell you how she came in. I believe the Constitution applies to me. And she believed it, she lived it, she acted. She enforced everywhere she could access opportunity for everyone to enjoy the rights that are promised by the Constitution. So you can see why I'm ecstatic to have an award named in her honor. I'm so grateful. I believe the Constitution applies to me. I believe it belongs to our young gold students. I believe that they will follow Barbara Jordan's example and change history, destiny, and we need that desperately at this time. I believe the people in this room are committed to those principles that we share, and on which PAD is founded. I believe there are in this room some more Michelle Jochner's, some Barbara Jordans, some Mary McMorrow, first female Supreme Court Justice of the state of Illinois, whom I had the pleasure to know through PAD. I believe there are some John Norris's, who was a stalwart of PAD. I talked to him a few days ago to tell him about our journey, where I met him and it came to this day. I believe there are persons who believe, as we do, the new, well, I won't say new, let me look at it. The principles of the Advisory Councils for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion that was established on July 16, 2020. And they put down on paper, and it was adopted by the PAD body, in support of the fairness we've all sought all our life. Freedom from racism, all of it, they say. Support for siblings of color, denouncing all forms of bigotry to the LGBTQ and community. Support our siblings in that community and all communities. Support immigrants. Support those who identify as first generation American. That's another reason I'm ecstatic to receive this award, because you in this room represent the hope that we need and the talent that we have to make America what it ought to be, and we will. I want to take it. Somebody's timing me, and you see I digress already? I would like to stop here because I feel so excited, but I can't, because I need to add a few other things. Michelle mentioned that I, after that 1973 dinner, became president of the National Cook County Bar and later the National Bar Association. Later at a PAD reception, I came to be acquainted not only with Justice McMorrow, but to become what I would call a friend and sort of a devoted admirer. She, just young people, read her best decision from beginning to end, and you would see her brilliance, her passion for the law and justice, how to write and how to defend your decision. That's just one I would ask you to do as you go on through your leadership training, and there's more. And you're honored to be able to receive it from this distinguished body. I have one last thing. Besides the fact that I'm beyond honored to receive this award, I'm pleased to have present today PAD sister to me, April Montgomery. As I told somebody else, she robs my pocket all the time.
But it's for you students.
But she also is a very loyal friend and a devotee to PAD. I have with us too my guest, Antonia Lee, who is a young, bright, dedicated, able future member of PAD.
Get that taken care of.
And a part about him. I'm going to hear more about him. I don't know all of the rest of you in here, but I do know I feel your energy, your aspirations for America and for all of us, and your devotion to the fact that we all are privileged to be beneficiaries of the U.S. Constitution and its application under law. And I thank you so much.
Wow, that was Wonderful, Arnette. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've just seen an inspiring example of leadership through service in Judge Hubbard. And let's give her another well-deserved round of applause. And as well, sincere congratulations also go to each and every one of our Gold Program class for 2023-2024. As this is the kickoff event for this year's program, I've been asked to offer some thoughts on the PAD core ideal of service to the student, the school, the profession, and the community, and how it relates to leadership. I understand that you have participated in a leadership assessment earlier today. Am I right about that? Okay. Were you surprised by some of what it revealed? Me too. Join the club, right? So we did a similar survey at our firm a few years back, and it was really a bit eye-opening, to say the least. It's an important first step to gain insight as to your personal and group management styles, to identify your strength, and to improve any weaknesses that may have been revealed by the assessment. Now, indeed, I commend each and every one of you for already showing leadership by applying for this program and making a commitment to not only grow and develop your skills over the next year, but also to develop valuable relationships with other leaders in PAD through a mentoring program, and to design your own service project. I mean, truly, I am excited for the year that is ahead of you, and I wish I could take that journey with you, because I think you're going to have a lot of great experiences. Now, the goal of the GOLD program is to equip you with the skills to take on additional leadership roles in PAD, thereby increasing our diverse membership, which in turn will strengthen our voice in promoting legal professionalism in our society. Indeed, it is a stated purpose of PAD to form a strong bond that unites students and teachers of the law with members of the bench and the bar in a fraternal fellowship designed to advance the ideals of liberty and equal justice under the law, to stimulate excellence in scholarship, to inspire the virtues of compassion and courage, to foster integrity and professional competence, to promote the welfare of our members, and to encourage their moral, intellectual, and cultural advancement so that each member may enjoy a lifetime of honorable, professional, and public service. You are, and you will continue to be, ambassadors of these very important ideals. And we are so very proud of the work that you will do in fostering excellence and in advancing justice, civility, and respect. You have the opportunity to make significant and positive changes within your profession and in your community, just like Judge Hubbard has done, and just like Barbara Jordan did before her. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we are all familiar with all of PAD's core values of compassion, courage, diversity, innovation, integrity, professionalism, and service. Now, you'll hear more about all of these values as you move through the program throughout the year, but we thought we'd start with the value of service today and talk a little bit about that. So, what does service mean? What does it mean? I think we all have a pretty idea of what it is or what it feels like, but the writer that I am, I took a quick look at the dictionary definition this morning, and it said that service is the action of helping others. Based upon that, this room is filled with people who serve. First, you, our gold class, who volunteered to commit to this project to learn ways to help your fellow classmates, your school, your future profession, and your community. Also, kudos to all of those who will mentor you during this upcoming year. They are likewise offering important services to not only help and support you in the process, but also to offer unique insights to help you make a positive difference in the future, including by taking on leadership positions in PAD. And of course, service is the hallmark of our International Executive Board and the PAD staff, who devote countless hours to create and sustain a space where you can learn and you can grow. Now, I want to circle back a little bit and talk about mentorship as an important aspect of service and as a key part of the GOAL program. Now, your mentors will share their experiences with you, and as a mentee, you have the opportunity to learn from this important insight and to use it to build a foundation to help others. Both sides give and get an enormous amount from the mentoring relationship. As you heard, Judge Hubbard has been a mentor throughout her career, and I too have been both a mentee and a mentor. Now, earlier in my career, and Judge Hubbard mentioned one of my mentors, I had the great honor of serving as a judicial law clerk to two Chief Justices of the Illinois Supreme Court. The late Honorable Mary Ann McMorrow, who was a steadfast PAD member, who came to our events, who was our honorary chair of the Chicago Alumni Chapter, and who really believed and lived every core value of PAD. So I was a law clerk to Justice Mary Ann McMorrow, and also to the late Charles E. Freeman. Both of these justices were incredible trailblazers in their own right and made substantive progress in the area of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Justice McMorrow was the first woman who was elected to the Illinois Supreme Court and the first woman to not only serve as the Chief Justice of that court, but to head any branch of Illinois government. Justice Freeman was the first African-American member of the court and the court's first African-American Chief Justice. Now, both Justice McMorrow and Justice Freeman were value mentors to me and role models throughout my career, and over time, they also became very treasured friends. They joined a host of others along the way, including several of my law school professors and other colleagues, including Judge Hubbard. Their support and encouragement over the years proved invaluable and was greatly appreciated. Now, I share this story with you as only one example of the important aspects of the mentoring relationship. And as you progress in your own career, be sure to pay it forward and be a mentor yourself to someone else. You will find it is extremely rewarding and is another wonderful example of service to the profession, to the community, and to the greater good. Now, as you move through law school and you begin your practice, you will be faced with many challenges. What will happen in the future in the next few years? Now, in early March 2020, who could have predicted the arrival of a global pandemic that would fundamentally transform our entire society, including the practice of law? The event of Zoom court hearings, the remote practice of law away from the office, and virtual just about everything has had a profound impact on our practice, and that is here to stay. We're not going back. And of course, how about artificial intelligence, AI? Isn't it everywhere right now? You can't look at any news item, it seems, without hearing about what the effect will be on society with respect to artificial intelligence and the practice of law will be greatly affected by that. It's gaining speed by leaps and bounds. This underscores the need for flexibility and the resiliency to respond to whatever comes next. Now, a great way to build that resiliency is to form support networks, and you are doing just that right this very moment by being part of PAD and the GOLD program. Just think of it. Through your service, you are building a matrix of relationships that will grow and sustain you throughout your career. Volunteering for service projects at your school, in your community, and through organizations such as PAD allows you to meet others who will broaden your horizons and also allow you to continue to grow and to flourish. Also, in meeting a diverse array of individuals through your service, you will develop the ability to understand different perspectives, which will, in turn, only aid you in your career. As the great Maya Angelou observed, people may not remember what you said, but they certainly remember how you made them feel. This is a reminder that service to others often intertwines with the other PAD values of compassion and also of courage. As our PAD mission statement reminds us, it is through accepting and embracing our differences that we become not just a law fraternity, but also a family. As we know, Phi Alpha Delta was the first law fraternity to open membership to all genders, races, creeds, and national origins. PAD and its GOLD program are clear examples of Mahatma Gandhi's invitation to be the change that you wish to see in this world. To make this important aspiration a true reality, we all need to do our part by recognizing and overcoming unconscious bias and always being mindful of diversity, equity, and inclusion in seeking out members of our teams and in presenting opportunities for advancement and recognition. It is important to create an environment that is welcoming and supportive of everyone, and to ensure that all feel respected and that they belong. By working together towards these important goals through service to others, we can ensure that all in our profession thrive. Now, in closing, I just wanted to leave you with a few thoughts to help you excel in the years to come by focusing on our PAD values. First, always remember that reputation and integrity are everything. You can never, ever go wrong if you do things by the book, treat others as you wish to be treated, and keep your word as your bond. In this same vein, you must go that extra mile and always be well prepared for anything you do. Always strive to aim high and do the absolute best that you can. Never stop growing as an attorney and as a person, and you're doing that right now by being part of this GOLD program. Many times, new endeavors can be daunting, but that discomfort also means that you are stepping out of your comfort zone to try something new and challenging. I mean, I've often felt that. You can be very, very nervous about something that is new to you, and you say, oh, I don't know if I want to do it, I don't know if I can do it. Yes, you can. That feeling alone is what should spur you on and say, that may be a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm going to do it and I'm going to grow through this process. And then you just keep making one step after another after another. In addition, when you have clients, treat those clients with respect and dignity. Be available to answer questions and keep them informed. Indeed, one of the most common complaints against lawyers is ineffective communication with clients. Do not become complacent. Keep learning, keep growing by developing new skills and enhancing the current ones that you already have. The assessment you took this morning is a step in the right direction along that path. Ask lots of questions. Knowledge is power. There are no bad questions, no dumb questions. Ask those questions and get that knowledge. It empowers you more than you'll know. Of course, there are also the basics, such as knowing and following the law, meeting all of your deadlines, and being professional in everything that you do. Professionalism and civility play key roles in enhancing the public's confidence because our profession and the justice system are then presented in the best possible light, offering a means for litigants to state their positions to the court and for the court to thoughtfully consider both sides and to rule based upon the law. Finally, last but not least, for sure, make the time to stay involved with PAD after you graduate as an alumni member and as a mentor, and become involved in other bar associations with other nonprofit groups and activities within the profession and within the community. As you have seen from Judge Hubbard's story, giving back helps you not only connect with others, but it is also very fulfilling and very enjoyable. I have a very similar story. After law school, I got very involved with a lot of area bar associations and community groups and made some very, very important networks that have lasted for my entire career and also have resulted not only in professional relationships, but some very, very treasured friendships. And one of our friends is John Norris, and we think about him today, and many of you do know John. John is a wonderful example of reaching out and pulling others along with him, being a mentor, and is a wonderful role model. You know, involve yourself, stay involved in PAD and get involved in other organizations. The networking that you gain from this involvement is invaluable, and it can help also decrease some of the stress in practicing law, which really is a stressful profession. Being able to reach out to others who have similar practices and who can relate to your day-to-day situation while also providing some advice and insight can be extremely helpful and also a lot of fun. To sum it up, service to others is truly a win-win situation for all of us. Now, as you embark on this year and you develop your service project, keep the PAD core values always in mind and apply them to things that you are passionate about and which you believe will make a positive experience. I know that I speak for all of us here that we can't wait to see all that you will achieve in the coming year. We thank you again for being here today, for joining PAD, for being part of the Gold program, and for being part of what we know will be an outstanding year for all of us. It's so exciting. So thank you again, and we so welcome any questions that you might have for myself, for Judge Hubbard. We'd like to share any insight that we can before we close the session. I know that we have a few more minutes, so the floor is open. Would anybody like to ask some questions of either myself or Judge Hubbard?
Students, this is your time.
This is your time. Don't be shy.
And a lawyer always speaks up, so come on, somebody needs to challenge here.
That's right. Yeah, we have a question. Yes.
Sure. My name's Brad. I'm from Alumni Chapter. I go to St. Thomas University in Miami. I'm looking to become a law clerk after graduation, so can you offer any insight into that position, kind of do's, don'ts, watch out fors?
So if everybody could hear, the question was, what are the do's and don'ts for applying for a clerkship, and how does that all work? I think, again, what we just talked about, being involved, networking. Quick story. So the first justice that I clerked for was Justice Mary Ann McMorrow. That was the first woman who was ever elected to the Illinois Supreme Court. She was my role model. She was the one that I looked up to, and all of us in our generation, because she shattered a very important glass ceiling because there had been no women on the Illinois Supreme Court. So I followed her career, I read articles about her, and I always thought, wow, I would really love to be a law clerk to her. So I had been already practicing for 7 years. I was a clerk at the circuit court, but I wanted to be a clerk on the Supreme Court because I loved writing and I loved researching. And I was very involved with the Illinois State Bar Association. They had a writing award that they gave out every year. So I applied, I submitted manuscripts, and I won the award 7 times. I like to write. But at one of the award events, so I would get a plaque, just as Judge Hubbard did, and so I was given the award. I could go up to the stage. Justice McMorrow was getting a Lifetime Achievement Award at the same event, and I got up the courage, and talk about being nervous, right? Oh my God, I don't know how I could talk to her. I'm a little bit nervous. So I got up and I said, oh, Justice McMorrow, I said, congratulations on your award. It's so well deserved. I followed you. And she's like, oh, Michelle. She's like, congratulations on yours too. She goes, I know who you are. I read all your articles. So it was one of those situations where networking, because I went to the Bar Association, right, group, and we were able to talk to each other one-on-one, and also that she knew my reputation from being in the community, from writing, and so it was like 2 different avenues that did that. So my advice to you would be to get out, to try to network with some of, maybe go to some events where some of the judges might be that you're hoping to apply to, and just introduce yourself. And say, this is something that I'm interested in. Make sure you have a good writing sample. That's very important, right? You need to have that because they're going to look at that. And make sure that you have some very, very good references. Because that was another thing too, because I had worked for many judges at the circuit court, and that's how I met Judge Hubbard originally, was when I worked at the circuit court, at the trial court level. I had many judges who I had worked for who could then be references for the Supreme Court position. So yeah, it's all about networking, relationships, and doing the very best that you can and putting your best foot forward. So anybody else? Any other questions? Myself, Judge Hubbard, oh my goodness, we've got a great person here to ask questions for. We have one here.
Hi, my name is Bethany Green. I'm a 3L at Mississippi College School of Law, and my question is for Judge Hubbard. Being a woman and a Black woman in these positions, I know you faced a lot of challenges. So how did you overcome adverse situations or deal with people who are misogynistic or racist in your position?
I'm not sure you heard the question, the essence of which I take it to be having to face many challenges based on race, gender. How did you manage them? And one of the things that helped me was a story I heard early on in my law career. His name was Warren Tom. He was the president of the Chicago Bar. And he talked about the time his father sent him to court and told him, whatever you do, don't let them continue with this motion. So he got to court, the guy insulted his father. He was angry, they fought. Nothing untoward was the result. But when he got back to the office, his father said, did they continue the case? The moral being, keep your focus. Remember why you came. Don't let persons throw you off your course, your purpose, It takes discipline. And sometimes you go outside and you say, okay, God. That was a hard one. But that's the key, I believe. The rest of it is that when you do your best, you have confidence in yourself. And so you walk in that courtroom and you say, I believe this case belongs to me. So, thank you.
Very good. So anyone else? We've got another one, yes.
Yeah, hello. Thank you so much, Judge Hubbard and Michelle as well for speaking. This is a question for either of you or really anybody in the room. My name is Kirtay Farrell. I'm a rising 2L at Penn State Law. And I was just curious, what, if any, emerging trends do you see in the legal field that a possible, rising 2L, 3L new lawsuit could take advantage of as, maybe a new area, not specifically like the area of law, but maybe new emerging trends as how lawyers are lawyering or, any paradigm shifts that are occurring in the field?
Well, that's, so for anybody who couldn't hear everything, it was what are the new and emerging trends that a 2L or 3L should be aware of moving into from your backpack to your briefcase, right? So I think one of them that we're seeing a lot, that I'm seeing in practice, is what I mentioned during some of the remarks, and that's artificial intelligence. That is turning out to be a very, very big area. I'm actually having an article that is going to be published in Best Lawyers in September about artificial intelligence and legal writing. So because that's my focus. But how many people have heard about the really bad case that happened in New York, right? Most people, did that make you cringe? Right? It's like, and see again, that's what we're talking about with like our core values, is that, don't cut corners. And that's what they did. The one gentleman, he was not familiar with that particular area of law. He was, I believe, if I recall the facts correctly, he was a practitioner in state law and not federal law in this particular area. And so he was given the case to do, and he went to ChatGPT and said, I need like an argument that supports my position. And the AI made it up. It hallucinated. That's actually the word that is used. It hallucinated some case law. And then when he presented the brief and then the other side tried to find the case law decisions, they wrote back to the judge in their responsive brief and said, Your Honor, we're sorry, we can't find these. And then the judge tried to look himself. They were nowhere to be found because they don't exist. And the worst part, I think, about this is that the attorneys did not fess up about it immediately. They doubled down and tried to hide the fact that they had used ChatGPT because I think they knew that they had cut corners, right? With that they didn't do the proper work, didn't prepare, didn't do what you must do per ethical rules when you're representing a client. And they did not admit to it, and it was only after several rounds that it finally came out that that's all that they used. So I share this because this case has generated a lot of discussion about AI in general, being used in the legal profession. And I think there's going to be a lot of new law that's going to be needed, new regulations, and there's going to be case law that comes up from the use of technology. So I think that's going to be a really burgeoning area of the law that has to do with anything that has to do with AI. Is going to be, our firm actually is just putting together its own committee on AI, because as a law firm, we need to understand how AI impacts our practice and what the exposures are as well, because it really creates a lot of things in terms of confidentiality and other issues as well. So I think that's really one thing that I would point to. Julie April.
You asked the other big trend, and this hit something like magnificently during the pandemic. Most of you cringe and run away from it. You know how they say everything old is new again? Tax. at all levels, state, federal, local. And local can mean counties, cities, special districts. They are all hiring, the rules are changing, the law is being developed, and it really affects everybody in this room one way or another. From when you buy that can of Coca-Cola, okay, which here in Illinois, one of the big sales tax states, if it costs you 99 cents, by the time you finish with tax, here it's $1.49. Try to figure that one out. To when you have your house, your property tax assessments, the tax liens to lose them. Now the case is coming up if you're interested in bankruptcy. This is a new and growing area. Do not be afraid of it, because also, and I used to be on the enforcement side of government, they need money. Everybody's budget is short. What does that mean? I come out and I audit you as a business, an individual, a firm, in your house. And it's not just the taxes where I'll get you, but once I decide or I find a tax law is not in your favor, it's skewed toward the taxing entity because they need the money, the penalty and interest is where I get your money.
I told her she's brilliant, but we have to interrupt, don't we? Oh,
I would just add another area, privacy. So along with AI, a lot of the privacy issues, there's a big one right now with Zoom and the rights that Zoom has to people's identity through their terms and conditions that most people don't read. So privacy.
That's the way she shows out. I thank you all. I think, Michelle, at this time, I'm going to hand it to you, and you're going to hand it to somebody, and I get to say finally, one more time, thank you, PAD.
Thank you, Judge Hubbard. Thank you, everyone. Wish you all the best in your year, and I'm going to give it to Nicole. Thank you.
All right, one more round of applause for Michelle and Judge Hubbard. Judge Hubbard, congratulations once again on receiving the Barbara Jordan Award. I do have a little note here for you. And Michelle, you may or may not know that since I became the International Justice, I have been giving out core value leadership challenge coins. And so I would like to give you a core leadership challenge coin for service. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your lifetime of service, both to lawyers, law students, PAD members, members of the bar, the community. We couldn't do it without the support of people like you, and we really appreciate you being here to kick off the Gold class this year.